As you may know, KDU commenced his degree programs in 1981. The first batch was taken in 1981, and since then up to now, 40 years we have been in existence. And over the last 4 decades, KDU has expanded from we commenced with only cadets to be trained at KDU. Then it went on till 2012. From 2012 onwards, we have included day scholars also. Why we established KDU was to foster friendship, esprit de corps, and to have a very close interaction between the Army, Navy and Air Force. Because this is not the first time in the world that KDU has established this. Then it is KDA, Kotelawala Defence Academy. This is a phenomenon established by other countries too. 2 models were taken by then General Dennis Perra and the other service commanders, those who were there in 1980, to study the NDA model, National Defence Academy model in India, and Australian Defence Academy model also. So it's a mix of both. With that only the concept of establishing a Triforce Academy came into effect. And since then we have been going on. In 1988, KDU was awarded the power to confer degrees in 1988 by the Act of Parliament number 27 of 1988 elevated the academy to university status. However, the name did not change. Then the senior officers of the Triforces wanted to continue with the same name of academy. Then in 2007, KDU was renamed as Defence University, General Sir John Kotelawala Defence University, by an act again, that's on 18th March. Then it was renamed 50 of 2007. With that, KDU became the National Defence University. Right? Then, however, the structure of the KDU was not changed till 2009. We were going on as an academy, though even the name was changed in 2007. So 2009, after end of war, then we wanted to expand the KDU. Because then we had only 189 officer cadets, if I'm not mistaken, at that time at KDU. Nobody else was there, only 189 cadets. Then we wanted to expand the numbers, because though the war was ended, we wanted to strengthen the military forces, because to enhance national security of the country, the forces must be well trained. So then we found the requirement of establishing the Faculty of Medicine, because we did not have adequate number of doctors to serve the soldiers even in the battlefield. So there was a dire need of having a medical faculty. So that was established in 2009. And then subsequently, by that time we did not have any faculty as such. So this was the first faculty to be established at KDU. Then up to date, now we have established 9 faculties in operation and 2 more faculties to come. That is Faculty of Technology and Faculty of Criminal Justice. So that is the evolution of the KDU. And the contribution that we have made, as I said, since 1981, the first batch was taken, and up to date, we have produced more than 5,000 officer cadets to the armed forces in Sri Lanka. And they have been doing extremely well. They have, there are war heroes, those who have done bravery, act of bravery, and they have served the nation well. Then 2012, we included the day scholars. Why we included day scholars was, now we have seen during the period of conflict that we undergone for almost more than 3 decades. Though the armed forces officers were having a very close cooperation between the tri-services, but with the civilian counterpart, that was not always existed in the same manner. There was a lacuna of cooperation at times in certain places. So we thought, even in other Western armies, Western countries, they have a thing called, the concept called civil-military cooperation. That is to enhance the cooperation between the civilians and the military. So we also thought this is the right time now to do that. So we integrated the day scholar programs at KDU, so that the Army, Navy, Air Force officer cadets and day scholars, they study and learn together in the same lecture hall. Only difference is day scholars, they don't undergo military training. But we do concentrate on developing soft skills, leadership skills, managerial skills, and all that is required by a day scholar also to serve the country better once they are graduated. That's a good question. Now, since we are taking almost a batch of more than 1,000 students per year, if not for KDU, majority of them would have gone to other countries to do pursue their studies. So with that, we have retained, especially the parents would like to send them here, because they have felt that they are very secure once they come to KDU. So therefore, without even sending their children abroad, their first choice would be, most of the times, to send their children to KDU, do the first degree at KDU, and then they may go for postgraduate degrees abroad, so that they can get foreign exposure also. So by that, we retain a quite number of students. Otherwise, those who were to be sent abroad by their parents for high degree. I think it's not appropriate for them to think that way, because this KDU Act is only for KDU. With this KDU Act, you can't govern any other institution in the country. Because it says it's the General Sojourn Kotelawala National Defence University Act. So this act is there only for KDU, not to govern any other educational institute or institutes governed by any other acts. They have been, for example, Universities Act. So all the state universities are governed by the Universities Act. KDU will be governed by the new act. Of course, we have our act. Why we need to have an act? As I said, because in 1988, though the power was given for KDU to confer degrees, but our structure of KDU has not changed. 2007, though KDU was renamed as a defense university, our structure was not changed. But at the end of the war, then we found that there is a need to go for an act, because things have changed so much since 1981 to 2009 then. For example, in our act, we don't have facility to even to have a faculty board, senate, council, right? We have a board of management, right? So, but when we are doing the same way that the other universities are doing, other countries, international universities are doing things, then we need to have proper structure. So the new act facilitates to have the proper structure at the KDU. And also, all military institutions are now affiliated to KDU. For example, Sri Lanka Military Academy, Sri Lanka Naval Academy, then Air Force Academy, then Staff College, now the new NDC, National Defence College, Logistics School, all these are affiliated to KDU. And KDU confer their degrees, right? So now these things need to be in the act. So that's why we are going for a new act. And only that act will govern KDU, not anybody else. Even since 1981, the new then act also, because there are few universities, not only KDU. We have the Ocean University, we have the University of Technology. These are all been established by different acts of Parliament, right? Even Buddha Shasana, Buddha Savaka Vishidyalaya, those are also, and Buddhist and Pali also been governed by separate acts. So KDU is not the only one. So our act, I specifically says it is for KDU only. I mean anybody who knows just knowledge about what is an act. Act governs only that particular institute. It can't govern elsewhere. Yes, we have KDU Care. We established this in 2015, and we are doing extremely well now. In fact, most of the COVID-related research also being done by our researchers, and few new innovative items also being produced through them by our students and our faculty members. And time to come, we are planning to expand that also, to cater for all, especially defense-related research to be done through the KDU Care. And even during this pandemic situation, KDU extended our fullest support including testing PCRs from the beginning itself. Because we had PCR machines, then we expanded to the hospital. And in fact, I could not tell you about our university hospital, Kotelawala Defence University. That is the only kind of university hospital in Sri Lanka. The hospital owned by the KDU, Kotelawala Defence University. And it's we plan to have a 704-bedded hospital, but now we have expanded to 834 beds, but still it's not fully functional. We are still coming up. But infrastructure-wise, that is almost the number one in Sri Lanka, because we have constructed that hospital to the total compliance of the international health guidelines. So the facilities that you get is all up to international standards. And now we have achieved about 40% capacity in the hospital, and some of the equipment yet to come. We are in the process of procuring those equipment, because earlier there was a severe shortage of required staff, because until 2020 the authority was not given to KDU to enlist the required staff. So most of them on temporary basis, so they were not keen to be there because there is no security of their employment. But now we have overcome all those problems after 2020, and now we are in good stead. And hopefully in another year's time, KDU hospital will be almost 100% functional. And during this time also, we have extended total service to the nation by checking PCR testing, then also running a COVID center. We have dedicated more than 30 ICU beds for COVID patients. Actually, KDU is not a private university. KDU is an university established by an Act of Parliament. It's a state university, funded by the Treasury also. And privatization of higher education, the government itself cannot provide education for all those students, those who are qualifying for universities. In any country, there is a capacity. So then the private sector also needs to come in. But KDU, we are doing a different type of a role. I earlier explained why we have taken day scholars. That is part of enhancing the national security. So here we take students and we charge them a nominal amount and provide them with the best of education that we could provide. So those who can have the means to pay, in my personal opinion, they should pay and learn, so that the other students, those who cannot get opportunity to get into universities, though there we can create more vacancies for them to go to such universities and educate themselves. Those who can afford to pay money, they should pay and obtain their education.